Welcome, badass listener. As you are getting settled into 2026 and you are trying to navigate all of the newness of the new year and make a big, powerful splash that will carry you throughout the year, I'm here to tell you that you might need a little bit of help. Nothing wrong with that. So today's guest has been on the podcast before, and she's back. Today's returning guest is the brilliant Liz Potter. She is a nervous system interpreter and best-selling author who is changing the way we understand stress, trauma, and resilience. If you caught her first episode back in September of 2025, it was aired on September 23rd, actually, of 2025. You already know that Liz teaches the radical principle of safety first and then expansion. So many times we jump into things too quickly and our nervous system is just not prepared to handle it. And then consequently, we may fall flat on our faces. So Liz doesn't want that to happen to you. Using her powerful frostbite metaphor and deep understanding of survival philosophy, Liz helps leaders, healers, and high-capacity professionals decode the body's signals and move from freeze to freedom. Her groundbreaking book, Nourish Your Nervous System, is a go-to guide for anyone ready to stop overriding their biology and start thriving with clarity, confidence, and calm. So get ready for another eye-opening conversation with a true trailblazer in nervous system healing, Liz Potter. Hello, badass listeners. Welcome to another brand new year episode of Midlife Strategies for Badass Women. In the month of January, there's no we, there's just me here, except for, and my guest, my lovely guest, of course, but I am trying to give you some new tools to kick off the new year with so that, everybody has big goals and aspirations and setting resolutions and all of that stuff. And the thing is, you can do all of that. You can make a million vision boards and stuff. But if you are not physically, emotionally, spiritually ready to move forward, then nothing's going to happen. And I'm just telling you, that's the way it is. So my guest today is the lovely Liz Potter. And she was, I will put her in the show notes. She was on the show back in September. So I'm thrilled to have her back here to help you kick off the new year with some positive tips and tricks and, not tricks, but some positive tools that will actually get you off on the right foot. So Liz, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Sue. It's good to
You're
be
welcome.
back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of that stuff that I was just talking about, when the gyms are full, right? The first January, you can't possibly touch a weight machine because everybody's in there like, I'm going to get fit. And then by February 15th, the gym is empty, right?
Yes.
So people, I feel, set themselves up to fail by making resolutions because resolutions are resolute, right? It's not, if you set an intention, it gives you the ability to grow into it. It's not like if I don't lose 50 pounds by the end of January, that's it. So I'd love to know what you have to say about all of that because as an intuitive and you have so many tools in your tool bag that I love that. So what can we do?
Well, I think the first thing that needs to be expressed is that there's a difference between a resolution and what feels good in the body. And it's what feels good in the body that will continue to motivate you when the honeymoon period wears off. When we're at February 15th and I don't want to go to the gym, it's the good feeling in their body that says, yep, this is an aligned decision. This is an aligned goal that will keep you in that rhythm. And that rhythm then will set you up for the success or the attainment of that goal. But resolutions are typically created from a few things that don't create safety. And one of them is social pressure. So the social pressure to go to the gym, the social pressure to lose the weight, the social pressure to save the money, the social pressure to do whatever it is. And now that we're such a uniquely webbed community through social media, we have a lot more influence on that than we used to have. When I was a kid, a resolution was more so about what I wanted,
Mhm.
or a young adult, than what was happening in the culture around me. And now, because of social media, we have so many more influences on what is happening culturally, and that impacts our belonging. And
Hmm.
so, belonging is a very primal need that we have. It never fades, no matter how old we get, but it is a very essential component to our internal safety network, so our nervous system. And when we make decisions that are based on social influences instead of belonging, then or safety, then we threaten that belonging. And the more time we spend inside that goal or resolution, the more our belonging is threatened. We pull back, right? And then we don't attain that goal. So if my goal is to go to the gym because I want to lose 75 pounds, where in that goal is the safety, right? Do I
Hmm.
still have belonging when I achieve it? Does it feel good in my body when I think about this, the sustaining level of it? Does it mean that it changes who I am, whether or not I achieve this goal? All of these things need to be kind of wrapped in this little ball of decision making when we lead ourselves to what it is I want to achieve or attain over the next year.
Okay. So what I'm understanding is, or what I'm hearing is that we kind of set those goals and those resolutions, not for ourselves, but for what we think we should be
Mhm,
doing,
mhm,
because we've been unhealthy through the new. I'm just using the weight loss one again because that's
mhm.
always a big one. Because we've been unhealthy, eating, drinking, whatever during the holidays, and we're like, oh, okay, now it's time to really
Yep.
clean up my act.
Yeah.
And everybody else wants to lose weight, and so what I'm hearing you say is that we're not thinking about why you really want to lose the weight. You want to lose the weight because your knees hurt or whatever,
Mhm,
and you want to get healthier, and you want to not eat as much sugar because your joints are achy or
mhm.
whatever. So
Right.
the motivation is coming from the wrong place. Is that what I understand?
Yep. The motivation can come from the wrong place. Your nervous system doesn't have consent in the goal. So if your
Mm,
goal is, I want to save $100 a month for the next 12 months,
mhm,
does your nervous system have or a voice in that conversation? Because if you are financially strapped and saving $100 a month is not doable for you within the realms of your safety, your
mm.
financial safety, that goal is never going to happen. You will never sustain it. And then you're going to feel bad, right? Then we
Yeah,
go into this
that's the thing. Yep.
internalized toxic shame that says, I am bad. I can't achieve my goals. I've tried this a million times and it's not working. Every time I try, I fail on month 3. And that's because the nervous system is not informing your decisions. The nervous system is not informing these goals or choices. So we have to take that into account. We literally have to have a nervous system conversation, which is what I teach, how to have these conversations with your nervous system to be able to write the goals that really are aligned and within the realm of possibility instead of a far reach or somebody else's goal or a goal that the culture has set for you. And
I
maybe
love
it
that.
just
Yeah.
means maybe we have to start small, right? Maybe it's I will save $5 a month.
That's what I was just gonna say, like,
Yeah.
$100 is a lot if you're already
Yeah.
financially strapped, and you wanna be less financially strapped, but it's gonna stress you out to save $100 a month, and
Yep.
then you're like, "Well, what about that? So what if you just, like, forego 1 cup of coffee at Starbucks?" Okay, so that's like
Mhm.
$100 a month. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, or $5 a week even, because
Uh-huh.
that's only $20 a month, you
Uh-huh.
think about it. Did I do the math right there? Uh so, yeah, I love that. Okay, so tell me more. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
blurt that
it's
out, but
yeah,
but I was
it's
just gonna think about that, like, $100 a month, too much.
that's
What is
right.
doable?
That what is doable. That's right. And so in that safety, it's kind of like when I was training for a half marathon and I would look at my training schedule and it would say, you need to run 3 miles this week. I'd be like, there's no way I can do that. I just don't have the energy to do it. But
Mhm.
because the training schedule says you need to do this, if you don't do this, then you're not going to be on track to complete that half marathon. I would do it. And I would be at my slowest pace ever. because I wasn't listening to the cues of my body. If I would
Mm.
have just done 1.5 miles one day, it might be very likely that I could have finished a full 5 the next day just by listening to my body, just by
Yeah.
honoring its cues. So we have to, and that's what I mean by listening to the body and having the conversation with your body and allowing it to inform those decisions. When we take the toxic shame out of it, when we say, I am safe no matter what, if I don't finish this half marathon at all, I'm still a good human.
Right.
I'm still me, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't take the humanity out of me. And so when we take resolutions and we match them up to our humanity, that we set ourselves up for failure. But if we take the resolution and we say, my humanity has nothing to do with whether I collapse into this, I succeed into this, no matter what, I'm still a good human, no matter what. So if we
I'm
pull,
gonna say something to that.
yeah,
That's easier said than done for sure.
yeah, yes, it is.
Because we're always worried about how we are being perceived, right? How, what judgment is being rained down on us because
If
that's how
you,
we are.
yeah,
That's
if
how
you
we are.
trace it back, it threatens the sense of belonging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If I
If I'm not
don't,
thin, if I'm not fit, if I'm not blah, blah. And yet, like
yeah,
you said, social media is really good at making us feel like crap
yeah,
most of the time.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I don't mean that
If
about,
you
yeah,
let it. Over the last year, I've gotten really good at not allowing those things on
exactly.
my feed.
Hmm.
Um, I also don't want to put my head in the sand like that doesn't exist. But I also don't need to let it inform me
Hmm.
on my humanity level. I don't want that on my feed. I'm very picky about it now.
No, and I think that that's good. It's just, you see so many ads for things and you're
Hmm.
just like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to be a better person. If I'm going to
Hmm.
do, if I don't learn AI, I'm going to be stupid and left behind.
Yes.
That's kind of the new one, right?
Hmm.
And so, okay. So we understand all of that. And how do you have a conversation with your nervous system?
That's a really good question.
Hello,
Yeah.
nervous.
I'm so
Well,
glad
only
you
because,
asked.
right. Well, that's why you're here. Because we, as humans, we're in our heads all the time.
All the
And,
time. Yeah.
when I'm working with horses, and you have animals, you have to be present in your full
Hmm.
self, or you might get
Hmm.
kicked, you might get stepped on, you might, but
Hmm.
you have to be present with your full self. And I know that, and you know that, but people that don't have that experience and don't understand what it means to be in your body
Hmm.
and to talk to your nervous system,
Hmm.
how the heck do we do that?
Well, first of all, I don't want to put anybody in a sense of I can't attain it because it's uncomfortable for me. Therefore, I
Mm,
never will, right? Because I
uh-huh,
was there. That was me 2 years ago. If
mm,
somebody would have told me you need to be with your nervous system and in your body, I would immediately recoil. Immediately recoil. I could nod my head and smile. Absolutely. And I taught all of the tools in order to do that, the meditation, the stretches, the quietness, the retreats. Like I did all of that. I was the
mm,
leader in all of that. And when I would reassure clients who would say it's not reaching me, and I would reassure them, just stay in it. It will reach you. And that's not true. I know that. I know better now, right?
mhm.
But
So
being
how did
in
you
the,
overcome it?
yeah, I
Yeah.
found safety. I found
Okay.
safety. So, and
So,
I'll go into what that looks like for me.
yeah.
I'll use my example.
Okay.
So, safety for me was a mental process 2 years ago, right?
Okay.
Now, safety for me is a physical nervous system process. And here's the
Okay.
difference: one is cognitive knowing, right? And the other is a felt sense.
Mhm.
So, when I became a somatic therapist or a practitioner, that was the big aha moment for me, was like, this is what I've been missing, right? So cognitively, I know all these things. I know how the meditation works. I know why it should work. I know all the cognition portion of it and the intellectual side of it. How can I get it to reach my body? And that is the somatic portion of it. So somatic means of the body or in the body.
Uh-huh.
And the intelligence that our body has is never ending. And it literally is the most wild voice that we have to inform our choices. And what happens is your body will create a felt sensation. So I'm going to give you a word just to play around with this. I'm going to give you a word, and I want you to just see if there's a resonant in your body, what it makes you feel. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So let's go with the word content. Just think about it for a minute. What do you
Uh-huh.
notice in your body?
It felt settled down. I felt like my breath went deeper into my body, and even my voice feels a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
And it just brought to mind that when a content, like a visualization sort of, and when I do feel content, and what my surroundings are like. So it was kind
Mm-hmm.
of like a whole, it's
Yeah.
just like if you had said the word lemon, my mouth would have watered and
Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But my
That's
body
exactly
just
right.
felt softer. Yeah.
Softer. Right. And
Mhm.
if you noticed, you even took a big breath. Did you notice that?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
when before I spoke, I just was like,
Yeah. And you
yeah.
settled into it. So there's a
Mhm.
settling, there's a softening into it. And so it's that felt sense that we pay attention to. That is the
Uh-huh.
communication of the body. So and you even said, if you said lemon, I would have tensed up. Maybe my saliva would have started to build up in
Happening
my
right
mouth.
now. Yeah.
Right. And so that is the felt sense. And that's why we call them feelings.
Mhm.
Right. So these feelings inform us of what is happening in our body. Do we feel safe? Do we feel protected? Do we feel threatened? Right. And when we go into fight, flight, or freeze patterns, they also have their own communication with us. And when we think about setting our goals, okay, then we have to pay attention to, am I feeling fight, flight, or freeze? Am I feeling safe inside even just the thought of the goal? That will inform us whether or not this is going to be successful for us. So if I take the goal of, I want to lose 150 pounds, and I sit with that for a moment, what do I notice? I notice constriction across my chest. I notice a tightening in my belly. I notice that my hips start to hurt, right? That's
Mm.
all just information. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
that it's a bad goal. It doesn't mean that we're never going to do it. All it is just information. And so that is the felt sense that informs us of how we can alter the goal to make it comfortable, or we have to create safety first in order for us to work with the goal.
Okay.
So in
Yeah.
in my in my framework, I have safe goals. So safe is it sustainable? When I think about losing 150 pounds over the next year, is that a sustainable goal for me? Can I day after day after day do what it takes and not burn out?
Mhm.
Can I do what it takes and not lose my sense of belonging? Can I do what it takes and not lose my sense of humanity? Right? So if it
Mhm.
passes that, then we move on to the A, aligned.
Okay.
Is the goal that I have aligned with something that I truly desire? Or is this a bogus thing that I want so that I can fit in, so that I can help find belonging, so that I can, um, what would be another one? So that I can finally say I did it. That's one thing.
Mm.
So I can finally say that I did it, that I achieved it, that I can do it, right? So climbing a mountain or whatever, like this goal that seems far out, but I can finally say that I did it. Is it aligned with me, or is it informed by society? Is it informed by culture? Is it informed by social media? Is it informed by family systems? Like all of these different things, or is it really something that I want to do for myself? Does it impact me negatively when I think about achieving it, or does it impact me positively when I think about achieving it? That's A, aligned.
Okay.
Then we move into F, which is the felt sense of it. And we explore the felt sensations of achieving it, of not achieving it. Does it make me feel expansive when I try to hold it in my hand? And if it's big, let's say it's a Toyota Tacoma, if it's big, you can just imagine like having the keys in your hand, or having the title in your hand, like something related to it. The felt sensations of how does it feel in the body as a goal, but also how does it feel in the body as receiving it as complete? right?
So, yeah, that's what I was just trying to figure out. So you have to think about what it would feel like to achieve that goal and
Yep.
what it would feel like when you accomplish the goal. So it's the whole kind of thing and
Yes.
what might come along in the way. Like, yeah. And
Yep.
okay, so go ahead.
Yep. And then E is going to be the embodied receiving of that. And
Mm,
this is where it gets a little trickier, okay? Because embodied receiving is actually what allows us to pull it in to us and
mm-hmm.
hold it without self-sabotage. Okay.
Hmm.
So if I
Okay.
lose the 150 pounds, but I don't have the embodied receiving portion of it, then I'm possibly going to gain 35 pounds in the next month afterwards, right?
Gotcha.
I didn't have this embodied receiving of it. There was something that was unsafe about holding it once it's achieved.
Mm.
And that's where we see a lot of that self-sabotage move in.
Yeah, interesting. So the felt sense and the embodied piece are so like the felt sense, the F is, like say if you want to buy a new car or whatever that goal, lose 150 pounds, you're like, yeah, I can see myself, dropping 3 sizes and being that person that's on the ads with the big pair of
Yeah.
pants on,
Yeah.
right? That's the right. I can feel that, and
Mhm.
but then it's like, can you hold on to it? Is
Can
that
you
what I'm
hold on to it?
understanding? Like,
Yeah,
okay, because that's what
exactly.
happens. When you diet and the diet is something that it takes things away. And I don't keep going back to the dieting thing, but it's true. Like you can't have this, you can't have that, you can't have that, and then you can't have that. Well, guess what you want more than anything? All those things you can't have. So
Right.
then once you reach your goal, you're like, great, I got there. I lost 150 pounds. Now I'm going to have 6 pizzas and wash them
Yeah.
down with 25 eclairs, And, that turns my
I
stomach
feel
just thinking
awful.
about it. Yeah. Mm. But right, so it's like, okay, I did the goal. Now I can just let it go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what you're talking about, the embodiment of it. What
Yep.
happens? How do you and then kind of okay, let me ask this, and maybe you're going to
Yes.
talk about this. Does it keep cycling like that, the
It does.
SAFE? Because the
Hmm.
embodiment, then you have to go back. Like, is it sustainable?
Hmm.
And right?
Yeah. That's
Okay, tell me
exactly
more.
right.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, because
But it seems like it would be cyclical. Like you would have to
yes,
keep doing the same things over and over again to keep checking in with yourself and making sure that, it is all okay, sorry.
that's the key. Yeah,
I
exactly
jumped
right.
the gun.
No, it's perfect. And so, yes, you have to keep checking in with your body. You don't just check with your nervous system when you set the goal. You have to check in on a day-to-day basis. Does this feel okay to me? And if you have to step back, like we talked about earlier, saving
Uh-huh.
$100 a month, that's probably not realistic if you bumped into medical expenses,
Right.
right? And so if you have to step back, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not moving towards the goal. It means I'm making aligned decisions to still feel safe in that motion. Right. And it's in that
Yeah.
safety that we diminish self-sabotage and we stay open to receiving. Okay.
And yes. Because I think
Um,
that's what happens if you hit something that is, and there's always going to be road bumps or
yeah.
roadblocks or whatever. You're always going to have something that will derail where
Mhm.
you
Or
are.
could.
And
Mhm.
yeah, or could if you
Mhm.
let it. But
Mhm.
I think that most people let it because and then they just give up. They're like, well,
Mhm.
clearly I can't do this.
Clearly, yeah, it's something wrong with me, right?
Hmm.
Life just keeps getting in my way and I don't have what it takes. And that's
Yep.
usually a cue of overwhelm, right?
Hmm.
And in the work that I do, overwhelm to me is kind of like the precursor to functional freeze.
Hmm.
You can't
Yeah.
make goals from functional freeze, which is another thing that I wanted to talk about if you're okay moving into that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As long as I just want to understand the safe practice and that
Yeah.
it doesn't just end when you achieve the goal.
And it doesn't. No, it's a
Yeah.
continual check-in. But we're
Let
just
me just
coming
ask you
off
one thing.
yeah, yeah.
Having a goal, it's kind of like before we got on, we were talking about resolutions versus intentions.
Mhm.
I prefer the language of an intention because it does allow for that flexibility
Mhm.
within like you were talking about your training schedule to run a half marathon.
Mhm.
I believe that intentions are like, okay, this is a journey that we're on. This
Mhm.
is something that has some flexibility that you
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
assess on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, whatever feels right. If it feels a little off, okay, what can I do to adjust it? So that's why I
Mhm.
like the word intention
Mhm.
because it's something that you want. It sounds more aligned
Mhm,
with, to use that language. It sounds more
mhm.
aligned with what your desire is.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
It's
more
gentle.
internal. It's and it seems more attainable as well, because
Yeah.
a goal is like, okay, here's the finish line. I got to get to that finish line and then
Yep.
pass out. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. 100%. I don't disagree with that at all. And I think that part of the safe goal method, when you have to step back and say there is something, maybe it is the saving $100 a month, there's something that's creating this constriction in my body. And it's
Mm,
that constriction that informs me, right? So maybe I jump up to $150. Does that loosen that constriction? Does it tighten that constriction? Does it make me giddy and happy? What happens if I come down to $5 or $75? Does that expand anything? How does it shift and change? Compare and contrast. And I
mhm.
think that the intention is a really good step in that process of saying my goal, my intention is that I would like to run a half marathon this year. That's a great goal. So let's sit with it for a day or two and see how it feels, right? If my intention says I will run, or my goal, my resolution says I will run the Boston Marathon, there's no flexibility in it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
That'll work for some people who already have safety in that process, right? Maybe they've
Mhm.
already done 6 or 7 marathons. But if this is your first marathon, maybe step back a little bit.
Maybe walk around the block first.
Exactly. Yes. So I think that the gentler language has definitely a place in that conversation of setting your resolutions and your goals.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is really important is to not do it from a place of functional freeze.
Mm.
You're setting yourself up for disappointment. And when you do set your goals and your resolutions and your intentions, even from a place of functional freeze, there's a disconnect between the body and the brain in that kind of, it's called a dorsal vagal shutdown. And there's a disconnect between the communication of the body and the brain, where the brain goes into constriction mode to conserve energy for survival, fight, flight, or freeze. And when you're in that place for a chronic state of time or an extended state of time, that communication gets muted, right?
Mm.
And so when I work with clients who say, I haven't been able to connect to myself intuitively, or my intuition or my guides or whatever the case may be for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, that is like a cue in my mind. We're in probably a state of functional freeze. Now, I
Interesting.
can't diagnose. I can inform and I can educate, but I can't diagnose. But when I look at that kind of cycle of overwhelm being the precursor to functional freeze, and then we have shutdown, and then we have collapse. So we have functional freeze, burnout, and then collapse. And it's in that state of functional freeze where we're still moving through life. Like the train is still in motion. All of the things are still happening, but there's no connection to it. If you're
Mm.
making goals from a state of a lack of connection, then you're not going to be able to get to that E part of embodied receiving. Does
Gotcha.
that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about it as you were talking, and I think overwhelm is so real these days.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I personally feel it myself. And it's not
Mhm.
because I have a goal that I have to do something by a certain date. And a lot of, for me, because I'm attention deficit disorder pretty much. But, but I mean, everything is
Me too.
coming at us.
Yeah.
Everything's coming at us. And we're like, well, what if I try this thing, or what if I do that, and what if I, and then maybe I should do that framework, and maybe I should try this new thing, and and there's so many options out there
Uh-huh.
that you just get to a point where I'm not making any forward
Mhm.
motion. And that,
Yes.
once again, functional freeze, where I'm still doing stuff,
Mhm.
but I'm not moving. I'm not
Yes.
getting any better.
Yes.
I'm not getting any faster. I'm not making any more money. I'm not doing
Yes.
anything. I'm just stuck in quicksand.
Yep. Stuck. Functional
Yeah.
freeze.
Right.
Frozen. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that I had something I was going to say to that. I forgot.
You probably
Um
have functional freeze going on right now. I'm just kidding.
I'm brain freeze. Yeah. Oh, yes, that we kind of grasp at straws a lot of the
Hmm.
times because we're just begging, our body's begging for immediate relief. Well, this sounds like this could be the one for me. Or going to this gym sounds like it's more welcoming. Or eating this pre-made meal sounds like it's like we're just grasping literally at
Right.
anything that will
Right.
be a life vessel for us.
Yeah.
We need to bring safety into the body. And if that's you, if you find yourself in that space, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you. Just breathe. There's no
Yeah.
decisions to be made right now. There's nothing that needs to be made in this state. No decisions need to be made in this state. But I would then if you were my client and you came to me saying exactly what you said, the very first session we would establish a baseline of safety in your body. And what does that feel like to you? I would walk you through it gently and slowly so that you know when you're in a state of safety. Because for some of us who've been numb for so long, we don't have a clue what that feels like.
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask you is like, how do you know when
You don't, yeah.
when something feels good, or how do I know? I mean, I do know, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying, like you said, if you haven't been there for a long time, or maybe ever,
Yep.
in a way that you can, identify
Yes.
that,
Yep.
then you're like, well, I don't know if I am or not. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I'm whatever. I don't know if I'm in functional freeze. I don't know if I'm safe or
Right.
whatever. Yes.
Yep.
I mean, the
Yep.
word safe is a couple, different things like, am I safe or am I
Yeah.
safe?
Yes. Yeah. There's environmental safety, but there's also
Right.
internal safety.
Yes.
And sometimes they play on each other for sure. But you can be in an environmentally chaotic situation and still have a
Mhm.
sense of safety within. But either way,
Yeah.
yes, you're absolutely right. Um, and I think one thing that needs to be mentioned is that when you come out of thaw or come into thaw from functional freeze or burnout or collapse, you start to feel again. Okay.
Mm.
And this can trip people up. This applies to safe goals as well, because when you start to see yourself actually making progress towards that goal and feeling the achievement in your body, people panic, right? And then
Yeah.
they pull way back from the goal and they create distance, right? Well, that felt good. I can take 2 days off. Or that I was good on my diet all week and I
I
can take 3.
deserve
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
deserve the 25 eclairs, right? I did
And you
so good.
do. Your humanity actually does. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, but the withdraw is a signal that says we've bumped into something that doesn't feel safe.
Mm.
So we need to go in and pre-establish that baseline of safety. What do I need to do to go in and find that again? And maybe it literally is taking a couple days off, and there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're going to lose your momentum. It means you're honoring what your body needs at that time. So yes, functional freeze, making your goals and setting your goals from a place of functional freeze. So just coming off the holidays is not the time to set those goals. Don't do
Right, but
that to
everybody
yourself.
does because they
Yeah.
think, "Oh, well, new year, new
Yep.
me, new this, new that,"
Yep.
and but you're functionally not ready for that.
Functionally not ready. Not at all. So I was doing some research a couple of weeks ago about this exact topic. Like, if I were to tell my clients, take a breather, how long should they take
Mhm.
a breather?
Yeah.
And some of the research shows, depending on the state that you were at before you went into the holidays, it could be 4 to 8 weeks, that
Mm.
you need to give yourself a break to come off of the holiday rush, to come off of the scarcity mindset, to come back into a sense of balance and rhythm within your own life before you try to jostle it up again with all these kind of rigid goals.
Yeah.
Even if they're intentions and not resolutions, even if they're safe goals and not the other type of goals, then you still need to give yourself this resting period before you throw yourself into that.
I love that because it's just like if you're not in a good place to receive, then it's just going to be one more thing to add to your overwhelm and
Mhm.
keep you in that freeze mode.
Yep.
And because you're not ready for it. I mean, let's face it, the holidays are stressful, whether it be family stress, money stress, whatever stress. They're stressful for
Mhm.
most people. I tend to avoid the holidays, kind of. But I mean, I take care of myself. I do the things that I want and the things that I feel good about,
That's right.
and not what everybody else thinks is the right thing to do. I
That's
try
right.
to, anyways.
Yes.
Um, but I understand that because so many people are, and if you listen to my last episode about the holidays, and people are just running around crazy, just crazy. They lose their mind. They're like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that.
Mhm.
And I love that. I think that that's not what people want to hear, right? You should give
I don't
yourself
tell
a
people what
month
they
or
don't want to hear.
right. Well, good for you. But no, seriously, right? They think, well, if I wait until February to start something, then I'm not going to be motivated. And when the truth couldn't be further from the truth,
That's
because
very true.
no, you might be and probably will be more ready to
Mhm.
think about moving forward with your goal
Mhm.
if you give yourself a minute to chill the hell out.
That's right. Yep. And if you take that in the Northern Hemisphere and we take that and we apply it to we're getting closer to spring.
Uh-huh.
Spring energy, more life force energy. Things are
Yeah.
starting to wake up around you. That same thing is happening in your metabolism of your body, the metabolism
Uh-huh.
for life. The way that if you want to find more abundance in your life, if you want more money in your life, if that's your goal, then you have to start being able to see it in your environment in order to open into that embodied receiving. That's part of that E that I teach. And so you have to start looking for all of the things that are abundant around you. In the summertime, blades of grass. In the fall time, it's leaves. In the wintertime, it's the amount of snow or whatever that's all around you. All these things that indicate flow and abundance around you. It's
Uh-huh.
so much easier to find those things when the environment is in a state of aliveness and not rest.
Yeah.
So
And the
when
days are longer. There's more abundance of daylight.
yes, yes,
Why do you think
yep.
bears hibernate in the wintertime? Because they smart. That's why they do that. They're like, we're just going to hunker down and we'll see you in the spring.
hmm Yeah. And I think that when we use that life force energy that the spring naturally gives us, and if you just think of spring in your own body, just notice what opens and what
Uh-huh.
expands. For me, it's immediately at the heart space. And there's more clarity then. I can make my goals with more realistic clarity when I wait until later in the spring. Late February, early March, sometimes even April. I prefer April. And it
Uh,
doesn't mean that you have to then give yourself only 6 or 9 months or whatever to achieve your goal. No, run it from March to March.
yeah.
Run it from April to April. Run it for 2 years. You don't need to necessarily give yourself that timeline, right? That is a conditioning that we have from the previous teachings, is it needs to have this specific time. Time is a functional freeze, worst enemy, right? So if you're looking for motivation from the source of time inside functional freeze, that ice cube's just going to get more solid.
Yeah, I was going to say, because when we put time limits on and it has to happen by a certain thing, it ramps up our stress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let me ask you a quick question. If you're
Mm-hmm.
saying give yourself a break and, until you can feel more abundant and you can start
Mm-hmm.
to observe and feel and embody more abundance,
Mm-hmm.
in that time when, like I said, people really want to kick it off in January and Feb or whatever, and they really want to get going, how can they prepare
Mm-hmm.
to actually then start those intentions in March or April or whatever? I mean, because like I said, I think it's hard for people. They're like, no, I got to do it now. So if I don't do it now, like you said, you can go
Yeah.
March to March or April to
Yeah.
April, but what can they do in that
In that
time?
meantime. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To actually start to get there.
Prepare for it. Yeah.
Yes.
Great question. Part of the teaching of E is that if you get to the E and you find out, nope, I don't have the embodied safety, I don't have enough of that right now,
Uh-huh.
then we go into my umbrella program, which is Nourish Your Nervous System. And that's where we do that felt sense of safety. We create that baseline of felt sense of safety. So if you already know that in the year of 2026 and maybe into 2027, you want to save $15,000, then take the next 8 weeks to prepare your body in a sense of safety, felt sense of safety, to achieve that. That's what you do in the meantime, is you create this baseline of felt sense of safety, and that you can separate your humanity from the goal, whether you achieve it or not. You can separate your humanity from the culture of it, whether you achieve it or not, and create this baseline of safety that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay. And then move towards your goal. Because that's what happens. In E, if we get to E and we're a solid no, we go into nourish your nervous system for a couple of weeks and we spend some time creating safety. Yep.
So you can use the safe framework in that period before you actually use the safe framework to do the goal or to start working towards the goal. So you can use that as, cycling through the safe to work up to the actual beginning of whatever that goal is that you want.
Exactly right. Yep.
And like trying to understand and get a better sense of what would it feel like to start to think about.
Yeah.
It's like you said, can I picture myself saving that $15,000? Maybe you put your change in a jar, and like, how does that feel?
How does it feel?
Yeah, feels good. The jar's full now. Okay, cool. What about you start, canceling some of your subscriptions or whatever, because that's another way to save money. I don't know, whatever. There's lots of things, but okay. So that makes more sense, where you're not just sitting there like, okay, I gotta wait until April. Liz said I can't do anything until springtime.
Yeah. That's preparing your
you're
body.
actively trying to understand why, if I start the goal now, I'm probably not going to achieve it, because I'm gonna talk myself out of it, or I'm not ready. I'm not ready to start doing that. And it's okay, I think, to say I'm not ready. What can I do to get ready?
Yeah. And I think that that's very good. What can I do to get ready from a point of safety? That's fantastic. And I really do think that so many of our people, so much of our population is in a state of functional freeze and burnout and collapse, that maybe this is the year we just rest. Maybe we don't need all these goals. Maybe we don't need the resolutions this year. Maybe this is the year that we just come into safety. That's okay. That's okay.
And I find that when I do that, and that things start to come up, things present themselves.
Yes.
And then you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. It is
I
cool.
wasn't expecting that, because that's the thing. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, okay. Well, I think when you have expectations and they're not met, then once again, it kicks you into the back seat again.
Yep. It creates dysregulation in the body. Dysregulation is what sets our limbic brain into, okay, does this dysregulation need us to fight, flight, freeze, fawn? How do we stay safe in this weird feeling that we have? How do I protect the body and the mind and the spirit from not feeling the disappointment of this failure? How do I keep myself safe enough to stay alive, right, in this threat? One of the things that I talk about, it's kind of outside of the safe goals framework, but I think it's really important to mention, is that the brain can't always decipher whether or not you talking about the goal is achievement or you physically achieved the goal. For instance,
okay,
we're going to save $15,000 this year. So I go to lunch and it's January 7th and I'm telling my friend, yep, these are my goals. And my top goal this year is I'm going to save $15,000. Wow, that's so cool. What are you going to do with it? I'm going to travel. I'm going to whatever. Great. So we have this goal, right? And I've shared it with others. And then I can even go one step further and I can say, do you want to do it with me? Should we be accountability partners in this? And to that, I'm going to say, absolutely not.
Why?
Don't.
Why is that?
Because when you have somebody else's nervous system inside your goal, it's no longer yours.
Interesting.
It's no longer yours. So now you have to not only navigate your nervous system and theirs, the pairing of them. You are now responsible for co-regulating their nervous system in addition to taking care of your own inside this goal. Needing an accountability partner, okay? From my experience, needing an accountability partner is one of the signs that tells me this is not a goal that's aligned
You
with
ain't
you.
ready.
Yep, that's exactly right. Now, if you say, I'm doing this, I can't do it with you, but if you want to do your own version of it, go for it. I can't, we're not comparing, we're not doing anything, but we can be parallel in our experiences here. Fine. But the minute you enmesh your nervous system with somebody else's inside your goal, no good, no bueno.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way because you always think, there's so many programs and so many things that, it's like get an accountability partner, get
Yep.
somebody to go running with, get somebody
Yep.
to, do whatever. And it seems to make sense because you're both in the shit together, right? You're running at 6 a.m. in the dark and in the rain together, and it feels kind of good to have somebody with you.
Yeah.
But I hadn't thought about it. Like, what if they didn't want to be there that day? Then they're going to bring that energy to the run. And so that's really interesting. So let me ask you this. Is there a way to get support that's where you're not intermeshing your, whatever with somebody else, your nervous system?
So I should finish up on my last thought there is that don't share your goals. Number one, don't share your goals. Keep them personal to your nervous system because the brain often doesn't know when you share it, it can celebrate as if it's already achieved it. And then the momentum is sucked out of it. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
I'm learning so much today. Okay, go ahead.
And then you can enmesh your nervous system. So if somebody says that's a dumb goal, right? Well, now
then
you
you're
just,
like, oh,
that's no longer safe, right? Yeah.
Right.
So keep it to yourself, right? And find ways to celebrate for yourself as if you've already achieved the goal. And we can talk about that in a second too. But to answer your question, it's boundaries, which are so hard. They are so hard. But it is really saying that when this goal is aligned for me, I'm doing it for myself and nobody else. It doesn't threaten my humanity if somebody else does it with me. I'm using a buddy system because I like somebody's company, not because I need them to help prop me up to achieve this today because I don't want to do it, right? Especially with ADHD, I think they call it like that body doubling, where just having somebody present with you while you do the shit can help you get the shit done. Right. And that's okay, right? Okay, if we're just doing this as like a company, I really like your presence instead of I need you in this with me or I'm not going to get it done. I think that's a little bit of a difference. So setting the boundaries of like, okay, if I need somebody in it with me, I need to double check, is this really for me? And how is it going to help me? And how do I feel safe inside of it? What boundaries do I need to set up with that? Maybe I did this quite a bit. When I was running my marathon, my husband would run with me. I hated it when he was running with me. But I wanted, because I don't want to keep up with his pace, right? And I don't want to feel like I'm slowing him down, right? He's a fast runner. I am not. And so I wanted his company. I wanted him to be in the rhythm of this run with me, but I don't want him breathing down my neck. I don't want to feel responsible for his
making
pace.
You feel like crap because you're not keeping up or whatever.
Yeah, right. So it set the boundaries. If you're going to go on this run with me, I'm totally fine if you're ahead of me. I'm going to have my earbuds in. I don't want to talk, right? I really want your presence. I really want your company more than anything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I'm glad that you clarified that, because I think a lot of people are like, no, I would like to have somebody with me if I'm running at 6 a.m. in the morning and it's dark. But like you said, keep it in that, like, we're just here, we're doing our own things. It's not like you're going to make me, neither of us are going to make each other feel like crap if we're not doing whatever. If we end up walking instead of running, that's fine.
Yes.
As long as you just, I understand. Okay, that makes sense. Because like I said, sometimes it is nice to have a buddy, whatever that is.
100%. Yes.
To go to the gym with, and then you're like, okay, now let's go grab a cup of coffee and we'll just chat. Because we can't chat when we're running because we're out of breath. But
If it makes it more enjoyable instead of like
Okay.
this, oh, I must have this done. I need you to kick my butt when I'm walking. Like, that's not helping. That's not helping.
Okay.
Make it more enjoyable.
Okay, good. I'm glad you clarified that because I think a lot of people would have questions and be like, "Well, what do you mean I got to do it all by myself?" And,
Yeah.
and so it's just like, what's the motivation behind doing it with someone or
Yeah.
having someone along? And maybe it's
Mhm.
not every single time or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
I also have a question about you saying that, don't tell people your goals. Is that because once you put it out there, then you feel bound to it? And if you tell somebody something and you don't go through with it, and then somebody says, "Hey, how's that goal coming along?" And you're like, "Well,
Uh-huh.
then you feel guilty and then
Mhm.
you go back into freeze mode. Is that what
Yep.
I'm understanding? Okay.
I have nothing further to explain. Yep. You
Okay. Thank you.
nailed it.
Well, I just, because sometimes people feel like, and also people have been told, we have been told
Yeah,
that
we have.
once you share your goals, then that makes them more real and that makes them more whatever. And basically what you've said is that like I just said, you tell somebody and then you feel guilty if you don't attain it because then you've
Mhm.
told 6 people or whatever and they're going to think you're a schlub because you didn't do the thing.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So, and that social pressure is not always, I'll
Yeah.
caveat that, is not always the healthy pressure that you need to achieve the goal, right?
Right.
The healthy pressure comes from a sense of safety within and not this, oh my God, if I don't do this, they're going to think for the 15th time she said she's going to do this. And what
Right.
is wrong with her? Like, and then that
Right.
internal judgment comes in, and then judgment creates constriction in the body.
Yeah.
Whether it's external judgment or internal judgment, it doesn't matter. It creates
Right.
constriction in the body. And it literally, remember we talked before about that disconnect between the brain and the body?
Mm-hmm.
That constriction can diminish the flow of life force energy between you and your desire enough so that you just stop trying to achieve it. And we call it self-sabotage. We'll call it self-abandonment. We'll call it all these different things. But what it is that we have acquired enough judgment from whatever sources where we have now collapsed the vessels, the veins, the means of transportation between the motivation and the goal itself. And it's not no longer attainable.
The highway got washed out.
It did. Yep. The bridge is gone.
That's happening a lot in Washington State these days.
Yes,
the highway no
unfortunately.
longer exists.
Yes.
That's really cool. So as we're getting ready to, we could talk for like 6 hours about this stuff. We might have to have you on for a part 2, seriously, because
maybe.
yeah. But I don't want to overwhelm people. I think that this is a lot of information to take in and take to heart because like I said, everybody thinks they have to start fresh in the new year, and you can start fresh by just settling into and recharging and getting ready to get on the on-ramp.
Yep. Very, very true. And resting.
Yes.
Which we as a culture
recharging.
have a really hard time with. Safe rest is not a thing that we're very aware of and keen to, but it is something that's essential to the process. But the bottom line is that when you're setting your goals, your resolutions, your intentions, whatever you want to call them, safety cannot be the collateral damage. Or it won't work.
Just safety won't be. Tell me what exactly how that translates.
So if I am making the goal to, well, we'll use the marathon again. I haven't ran in, 13 years. So if I said today I'm going to run a goal in October, or my goal is to run the half marathon in October. I say, even as I say to my body right now, my whole core is just like, oh, no,
not that again.
So if I say that, and then that sense of safety in my body is the collateral damage, right? If I say, nope, I'm sticking to it. This is something I really want to do. This is going to be my year. I'm doing this. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Try.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna bullhead this, right? And I'm going to ignore all of the systems in my body that are red lighting this. And then I go and I spend $150 on a pair of shoes. new running shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That purchase also feels gross because I'm making
Right.
a purchase. I'm investing in something I'm fully not on board with, but I'm
I
trying to build momentum to make it
Yeah.
happen, right? Then I go out on a run. I twist my ankle,
It's like, I
right?
told you. I told
Exactly
you not to
right.
do this.
Exactly right.
How many times did that happen though? Yeah, you get these signs
Yes.
that you just totally disregard
Yes.
and keep going forward. Like me playing polo. Oh, you broke your wrist. Oh,
Yes.
okay, right. And then this past summer, I got into a car accident. I got rear-ended, right? As polo season was starting. Like, okay, I get it. No polo.
Yeah.
No polo.
No polo.
No
But
polo.
that's exactly right. And that's what I teach is when you start to listen to your body and you don't even have to really slow down to listen. You do initially, right, to be able to build that listening ear.
Mhm.
But once you get into the rhythm of listening to your body, you'll hear these cues and you'll feel these cues, and it's a felt sense. It's a sensory experience. It's not necessarily a message you receive in your head, although sometimes that's possible. But it's a felt experience. And you can get that message, you can get that information, whether you're at the grocery store or whether you're putting gas in the car. It's all the time you're being informed of what the next right step is. And that's how you build that trust with your nervous system, is listening to the next right step and then taking action, aligned action on that next right step. So if I said, oh, I'm gonna run in October, I'm doing it come hell or high water, and then I feel that sense in my body and say, oh, wait, I need to sit with this for a little bit and then not buy the shoes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I walk a 5K. If that's really something that I wanted to do, I could walk a 5K, or I could just take it off the list at all and put it on another list that is like the future list. And I can pull things off of that.
Yeah, that's something that I was going to ask you about. So I was going to say, can you give my listeners some tips that they can do if they're willing to not jump in January 1, that they can do? And it sounds like, and I was going to ask you, could you just sort of like make some lists of things that come up and just be like, hey, I've been thinking about this. This is something I might want to do in 2026, and have it be like a soft ask rather than a I'm going to do this kind of thing.
Yes.
So tell us what we can do so that we don't jump in and then fail.
Yeah. So make a list A and B, right? So A is the top things that I really want to do. B is the list of things that just don't feel right in my body right now, but there's still things that I want to do, right? So let's take that $15,000 savings. I'm going to put that here. And then when I go through each and everything that I have on my list and I sit with it for a while, if it's a check mark, I'll leave it in column A. And if it's an X, I'm going to move it over to column B. It doesn't mean that it will never happen. It just means not right now. It's like the wait list, right?
Yeah, go on the wish list like on Amazon.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. And so it doesn't mean that it's not ever possible. It just means not right now, not in this nervous system that I have now. And you'll be so surprised at how little time it takes and how little calibration to the nervous system it takes for things to go from that list that's now the wish list back onto, yep, we can do this now. It's fascinating to me. It's probably one of the most surprising things that I find in this whole process is how little calibration and attunement it takes to the nervous system for something that was once a no to become a yes.
Interesting. And the other way around.
Yeah. Yes. Also,
the things that you want to make, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. The things that you want to make a yes, you get a big old no on it.
You get a broken wrist.
You get a broken wrist. Thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Okay.
No,
time's up. All right. So, Liz, this stuff is also fascinating. If people want to know more about your SAFE method and all of your really cool tools that you talked about and how to get into regulating your nervous system, how can people get in touch with you?
I have two websites. I'm in the process of merging some things.
Is it the yes website and the no website?
Whichever one feels good to you. So one is lizpotterintuitive.com and the other is the self-resourced.com.
Self-resourced?
Self-resource. Yep.
Okay.
PHESELFRESOURCEE.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Thank you.
LizPotter.com. And anything else? Are you active on any of the socials?
Nah, yes and no. No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Go to the
And
website.
yeah, go to the website, email me, and I'll be in touch. Um, yes,
Love
this
it.
has been good. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. And actually, I loved this so much because you helped debunk a lot of myths and a lot of in a way that makes sense.
Mm,
And you're not saying don't not set goals, right?
right,
Go ahead and
right.
set those goals, but
Hmm.
before you jump in, make sure that there's a safety net there. Make
Hmm.
sure that you feel comfortable with these things.
Yes.
And rather than trying to force things, because when you try and force things, you will not be able to achieve, and I hate to say the word fail, but you won't be able to, and then you're just going to beat yourself up,
Hmm.
and then you're going to be into that downward spiral, and you're going to freeze, and then all that stuff. And
Yes.
yes.
Yep. Yep.
So I love that.
Yeah,
And thank
it
you for
is.
helping to clarify that, especially like with a buddy system versus an accountability partner and all of those things, because we're so conditioned that
Hmm.
that's how things have to be. And
Hmm.
it's all social pressure or,
And we get so down on ourselves when it doesn't work for
yeah.
us.
And we
Yeah.
can do that on our own, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
we don't need
without
another.
goals, we can get down on ourselves with no goals. So there's
Right.
that.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, find a coach, find somebody who
Oh,
knows
yes.
what they're talking about. That's less of an accountability partner, that they're going to help you work through those tough
Yes.
spots and those roadblocks and all of those things, potholes, whatever else you can
Yeah.
gonna get in your way.
And
Um,
that's a really good point, Sue, is
mhm.
that especially if you've been in overwhelm and functional freeze for more than a month or two, um, really find a coach.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because coming back into safety can feel really, really threatening.
Uh-huh.
And unless you have a trained professional to help you move from thaw and those scary feelings of threat inside thaw, without going back into the functional freeze or the collapse, and what's the word I'm looking for? Run the risk of
Mhm.
going back into that collapse and then shutting the door
Yeah.
and saying it's just not safe out there. And that's not true. That isn't
Right.
true at all. But you definitely need somebody to help guide you through that.
Yeah, it's like a little lobster, right? You got this nice hard shell that you built up, and then you get
Right.
rid of that little shell, and now you're this like raw, vulnerable creature in the sea that
Yeah.
could possibly get eaten because your little shell hasn't grown back yet.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Exactly
help
right.
somebody to protect you and support you while your
Yeah.
shell
Yes.
while your healthy shell grows back.
Yes. Yeah. And that's nervous system expansion. That's a great metaphor because
Thank you.
the nervous system that I had even 4 weeks ago
Yeah.
is nowhere near the nervous system that I have today.
We
Right?
evolve all the time. We're always shedding our skin and our shells and our
Yeah.
whatever, and then they come back and they come back in a way that feels better for us and gives us room
Hmm.
for expansion. So,
Hmm.
Liz,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here today. I really
Thank you.
enjoy our conversation. We might have to make you a regular guest here on the show.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Count
I
me
think it's
in.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And to those of you listening out there that are, trying to hammer through your goals that you set on, when you were having that third martini on New Year's Eve, and you set some pretty lofty goals, and now
Hmm.
you're like struggling, take this to heart. And if this resonated with you, reach out to Liz, and share this with a friend. Not an accountability partner, just a good buddy that you feel that this might resonate with them as well. And thank you all for being here. And I really hope that 2026 is a beautiful year for you. But be prepared and go about it the right way, and so that you can enjoy it, so that you're not
Hmm.
fighting against yourself, because that is bad.
Exhausting.
Yeah, it is exhausting. All right. Well, thank you for spending this time with us today. And I will see you on the next episode of Midlife Strategies for Badass Women.
I worked with Sue for tips on increasing my podcast visibility and work on monetizing. My show is called The Pivot Season, and it's for women who are ready to find out who they are now, what they really want, and to step into their next big reinvention. Sue has amazing energy and is so supportive and giving. The value she gave me in 1 hour was incredible. After working with her, I revamped one of my offers and one of my lead magnets to simplify it, which she recommended that I do, and I ended up getting 60 signups in 24 hours. We also talked about how to promote my podcast, and she encouraged me to double down on Threads since that's where I was getting most of my traction. After applying what we talked about, I got 80 new subscribers in 1 week. So work with Sue, don't hesitate. She is amazing and she will help you boost your show.
Hey, badass listeners, have you ever thought about starting a podcast yourself, but are just too overwhelmed, or you don't know where to start? You don't know what to talk about, or you think you have a lot to talk about, but you don't know how the heck to get started. So if you are pod curious, you can get ready to launch your podcast in 2026. What the hell are you waiting for? There's a link in the show notes. Just click on I'm Pod Curious and see you soon.